and welcome back to another edition of We Women Want. Now, this is a show, as all of you who've been watching it know, it's a show for women, by women, where we raise issues that concern, I think, almost every one of us. Today, on this edition, we're going to be talking about busting diet fads, about dieting, nutrition, how to keep fit, and also the impact of it on our health. So, we have a very comprehensive panel of very well-known names. Joining me on the show is Dr. Ishi Khosla. She is a practicing clinical nutritionist. She's a columnist, and also you can find her at the Center for Dietary Counseling. We have Vesna Jacob of the Vesna Wellness Center. She's a Pilates, fitness, and wellness expert. She's also authored a couple of books also on fitness. And we have Dr. Ritu Punhani. She specializes in women health, obstetrics, gynecology, IVF. So we have a very comprehensive panel. Dr. Khosla, I'll begin with you first. Can you help us through? Today we are living in a world where everybody is looking for that perfect diet. Is there any easy way to lose weight? Intermittent fasting, तो सब कर रहे हैं आजकल. What is your take?
बहुत ज़्यादा. So literally we've come a long way with this confusion, which is not helping in managing weight problems, which are just growing so rapidly. And in the last 2 years with the pandemic, we're seeing even the fittest of people are getting getting weight problems. So clearly diets are not helping, and maybe the current approaches have been faulty, because really a diet is a way of life, and until and unless you're able to crack what works for you and what is sustainable, you will keep going through the cycle of weight loss, weight gain, regain, and weight loss, and that becomes what we call weight cycling, and the average person becomes bigger and bigger. Every time you lose weight and regain, it's plus 2 kgs.
Already.
Yes, so it's really not okay. And some people are not only dieting, they're also exercising, and yet not making it, not making the difference. And some of them are actually gaining weight after exercising and dieting. So there are missing links. Earlier we were looking at calorie counting. Everyone was on either 800, 1200, 1400 calorie diet and burning out an X number of calories and feeling that, but that is not helped. Certainly not helped. So that equation that's what our textbooks taught us, that calorie in and calorie out equation. If it is plus, then you gain weight, and if it's negative, you lose weight. It just doesn't work like that. So then we started counting fat and becoming low fat, falling to low fat diets. Then we went into proteins and fats, so Atkins, and then we had the keto diets, and now like nothing, just fast, intermittent, just don't eat. So that's where we are today, and that just shows that really we need to look at it differently. We need to go deep down into the causes of obesity and address all those factors which are connected with our gut and our digestion, more than just all of these factors. Everything counts. These tools are important: fat, calories, carbohydrate. Everything counts, but they are tools for professionals, and for people we need to talk in terms of food, real food. What to eat, how much to eat, when to eat, far more than what.
So when to eat is very important also. It's not just that I'm eating 1200 calories, I can eat it anytime. You're saying when to eat is a big issue.
Very, very big important issue. So for instance, you asked me about intermittent fasting. Well, it's a great tool. Fasting is a fabulous tool. But again, what time are you eating that food? Are you going to make, that 8-hour period will be at night? It doesn't work. If it's not the kind of food, what you're eating is important in those 8 hours. Also. So just simply oversimplifying and limiting food into 1 or 2 variables is not going to work.
So nutrition, and I've heard you talk about gut health. I will come back to you on why you give so much importance to that. Fitness also plays a role, and a lot of people have this thing of you don't have time to exercise. How much time do you need a good workout before you start burning calories?
Well, there is again, it's not that simple as it sounds to be, because you say sometimes what happens is people say, okay, you just go for cardio and you're going to lose weight, because this is something we talked in the green room just before. And that's not true, because in the process, if you overdo your cardio, you're not going to be necessarily burning fat only. You may be losing a muscle mass, and you end up being more hungry. So then you pack up actually everything and anything, you overload your digestive system, and You kind of go on the other side. When we are talking about exercising for health, we are usually talking about 20 minutes 4 times a week of moderate exercising, because that is just to kind of, that is a bare minimum, because exercise, the way I look at exercise, is everything you do. Whenever you're using your body, it's exercising. So whether you walk, you go for shopping, you clean your house, you wash your dishes, it's an exercise. Okay. So that we started saying you have to take a time out to exercise, it just shows how inactive we have become. Because we are getting in the car, we are not cycling, we are not walking to the work. At the work, we are having elevators, we are not taking steps. While at work, we plunged ourselves in.
Smile is there because she just took the steps to come down to the studio.
I always take steps. Okay. Whenever
never
I can.
Take the elevator,
never take
okay.
elevator, unless like we're talking about 13th floor. so then I will. But if it's up to 3, 4 full floors, I will always take the steps. Right. Because it is, your body is meant to move. So now, if you want to change your physique, if you want to change the way your body looks, there is something else or additional that you can use, which can be more targeted. And as you're working on the targeted, if you increase your muscle mass in the body, then your body in the basic state, in your basic metabolism, will be burning more calories vis-a-vis somebody who doesn't have such a great muscle mass. So the fitness should reflect that. There is a space for mobility, there is a space for a breath work, there is a space for a cardiovascular, but that doesn't have to be 1 hour. There is a weight for calisthenics or for a weight training or a resistance training. Depending where you are at, what is your background, what are your possible medical conditions, where is that you want to reach? And based on that, you are getting, because we are living in an extremely stressed environment. So our body, which is meant to have a fight and flight, it has a fight and flight response. It is more often than not with a constant stress, always in the fighting mode.
So my, sorry to interrupt you, is supposing that I want to lose weight and I can't, I keep saying I need 40 minutes to do that workout and I cannot take out that 40 minutes. Would you advise me then to do a quick 100-minute bending exercise if I have just 10 minutes?
Absolutely, that is how I do. If I don't have a time, which is very often, in between the sessions, in between meetings, in between appointments, I'm just going to do 3 minutes. 5 minutes. Whatever amount of time I have, I'm going to use it to exercise. That can be quick squats or basic movements, squats, push-ups, pushing, pulling. These are the basic activities. You can add them anywhere, at the party, in the car, at the bus. In the car, you just pick up your knees. There is abdominal exercise. You do not need to be in gym, studio, wherever for 1 hour, 1.5 hours. You do not. Your body is going to recognize movement, and it can be quick. It is doable, it's sustainable, because the fitness happens not because of 3 hours that you put in 1 week over 2 months. Fitness happens, the health happens, lifestyle happens, wellness happens in what you do with 80% of all of your time given on earth.
So do you need to warm up for this workout? Everybody says you must warm up before you stretch and bend and all that.
Not necessarily. Not necessarily. Because again, primal man, and this is again something we just mentioned in the green room, is primal man, you're walking through the forest and you're minding your own business. Tiger jumps. You don't say, wait, the tiger, let me warm up and then I'm going to run because I'm not warmed up. I mean, that's not how body works. Our body is meant to jump in that fight or flight mode where everything shuts down. It just, the hormone spike, it gets you blood just where you need it, shuts everything off. You run away from the danger, and then you settle and everything goes back.
Okay.
Now, in the modern time, that doesn't happen. We are always having that hormonal spike. So if you come to me or any professional, having stress, constant stress, and I put you in the stress environment and I pile with a strong cardio, strong workout, I'm going to burn you down. I'm going to end you injured. I'm going to get you sick. Fitness has to balance that out. So not everything is for everyone. And that is why lots of people keep working out, keep getting injured, keep gaining more weight,
And-
because it's not just go work out and be done with it.
Okay. Now we've heard both the diet, nutrition, fitness, exercise. As a doctor, how would you recommend your tips for staying fit, especially for women? Because women have a lot of hormonal changes, so they need to be a little more careful. We're always changing sizes all the time.
See, I think I'll start by saying that healthy woman and healthy world. So unless you have a woman who is healthy, you cannot have a healthy world. The society's health is also dependent on a woman.
Right.
She's so busy taking care of her own family, spouse, and kids that she forgets about her own health. And I think she deserves a better care, health care, because her health is the priority for us. Woman is a bedrock of the society. If we don't take care of her, naturally the health of whole society is impaired.
Right.
Now, each stage of life, the health can be affected. It can be from adolescent, it can be pre-conceptional, pre-pregnancy, during pregnancy. Patients can come to us when they're not able to get pregnant. That is also a stage of life. So every stage of life, they'll have some or the other problem of health, which can be dealt in by a proper screening and management in the early time. Like if you say adolescent health, kids can approach with us with adolescent problems, irregular periods. So that could be related to the dietary modifications, or it could even be hormonal imbalance. So that will depend on what type, when you take the history and elicit the problems they have associated with it. They can come to us with acne. They have
So
irregular
weight
cycles.
related, how would,
See, weight related, mostly when they come to us, probably they have the psychological impact because their body, they're not able to present themselves in the society. And the major effect what the weight has on them is they can have acne, because weight means they're obese, so they have increased fat. So that will give to male hormones. So females having more of male hormones in them.
That's interesting.
So that will give rise to features like they can have acne, they can have increased hair growth, they can have hair loss in the male pattern. And irregular cycles is the most important, which usually these girls present with, the adolescents. These are the problems they really face. And it psychologically also impacts them, because they're not able to, stand up in the society with that confidence, just because of the weight. Then if you talk of the reproductive age group, obviously weight is not a problem once they've become pregnant, but obviously pre-conception, again, they can come to us, they're not unable to get pregnant. They have infertility.
So weight gain can lead to infertility.
It could be. Then again, cause is not again that it's just because of weight gain.
Other things.
The hormonal imbalance which is associated with the weight gain. Even thyroid abnormalities like hypothyroidism is associated with weight gain, and it can indirectly lead to infertility. Similarly, if you have PCO, as we had also spoken to Dr. Khosla about the same, PCO can also affect and produce a way of infertility. Because again, as I said, these women, if they're obese, they'll have more of male hormones. So the ovaries will not be able to produce eggs every month. So they'll have irregular cycles. Because of which, again, they'll have present to us with infertility. So that is one age group.
Okay.
Then postmenopausal also, they tend to put on weight
Why
because
is that?
of hormonal abnormalities.
Okay, I'm going to come to that, but Dr. Khosla, just the importance of gut health. I mean, what Dr. Ritu's also hinted at it. Everything leads to a lot of other ailments also come if your gut is not right. If
Oh,
your health-
absolutely. So that actually has helped us to join the dots.
Okay.
Why, earlier we were not seeing the kind of problems that we are seeing today is because of a very important shift in the ecosystem around us. Ecosystem, the kind of food, our exercise, our lifestyle, we all spoke about exercise. And why is it that everything, despite so much more information, despite so much more knowledge, people are far more clued in. Our generation and other millennials are far more aware of calories, proteins, fats, vitamins, vitamin C and 6.
But is it all the right?
Oh my God. And, they're eating things which we've never even heard of. Sometimes you have to look up, ye kya hai? That kind of a thing. But they're so clued in, and yet we are burdened with far more problems. And that's because, and even let's look at gut and nutrition in terms of micronutrient malnutrition. It's what we call hidden hunger. The more obese, the worse the parameters, the more malnourished.
Really?
So, yeah. I mean, if I have to see the blood work of, say, vitamin B12, iron, vitamin D, they are far more, they're critically low in the obese. So this equation is not adding up. You know what? We are eating so much more. We are eating excess, and yet we are malnourished. You know, that's a big one to help. What's happening is probably the gut has changed thanks to the change in the ecosystem. Food, what used to be grown earlier, what ancestors ate, grandparents ate, is very different from what we're eating. And that change in the outside world has affected our gut.
I see.
And when there is a shift in the gut, what shifts is what we call the gut microbiome. And that's a word I'm going to use in this forum, because youngsters must know these things, that, you know, this is where you can join the dots. When there is a disturbance here, we are not absorbing our nutrients. We are not absorbing our food properly. We are also having inflammation, and we are having a whole lot of other unhealthy changes, which we call leaky gut. Now, all those things are causing a shift in hormones, like Dr. Ritu just mentioned. They are the master controllers. They are the master controllers of appetite. They are the master controllers of energy. They are the master. So there are 7 hormones which are secreted in the gut, which for appetite control.
Really?
Yeah, the gut is the largest endocrine organ. So hence, if there is a problem here and we are able to diagnose that problem, then we have the right tools. So more than just nutrients and calories, this is where we have to focus, and if we really want to have a sustainable solution.
Okay.
And
So
the other
trust your
thing
gut,
which,
huh?
the other thing I must always, we ignore this aspect, that food is just beyond nutrients. We have a relationship with food. You know, I myself as a practitioner, Ritu, I don't eat the kind of calories or proteins when I pick up a plate. I am eating food. I'm eating vegetables. I'm eating my cereals. I'm eating fat, and I mean, but I don't break it up. I eat it as a as a meal. So we have a relationship with food, and any diet or any approach which violates that or interferes with that feeling, or is not going to sustain.
Okay,
So
that gives us one answer why some diets just work from the short term but cannot be sustained or don't work in the long term. But I'm going to take a quick break and come back and keep this conversation going, so don't go away.
रोज सब्जी का स्वाद बढ़ाए और घर वालों का प्यार पाए। गोल्डी सब्जी मसाले,
जहाँ जाए रिश्ते बनाए, गोल्डी मसाले।
रोज सब्जी का स्वाद बढ़ाए और घर वालों का प्यार पाए। गोल्डी सब्जी मसाले,
जहाँ जाए रिश्ते बनाए, गोल्डी मसाले।
Hello and welcome back to We Women Want. Well, today's topic is something that's going to interest a whole lot of people I know. We're talking about staying fit, busting diet fads, diet myths, and of course, how to be healthy and do it the right way also. Vaishna, we spoke about the importance of nutrients, importance of food, but obviously, there are certain foods that you would say eat for a good diet, healthy body, or you would...
See, for as long as food is as organic, as natural, as little processed as it's possible, you're good to go.
Okay.
So, and that's pretty much it. That don't shy away from food. Food is not an enemy. There is no need to be fearful of food. There is no need to be fearful of fat. There is no need to... Your body needs everything. There is a space and time and measure for everything. However, sugar, processed food, packaged foods, things that have expiry date, things that have a lot of additives to it. Now, while that is amazing that we are able to have foods and that we can access to it easily, that is a lot of where problems are, because we're having accessibility to food that would usually be available only during the seasons. Then you're having lots of foods which are read the labels. If you're even taking something that is packed, read the labels, because a lot of time there is a lot of hidden sugar, there is a lot of corn syrup, there are lots of things that are there to enhance the taste. And
So
in the
what are the
process,
triggers one should look for, the words that one...
added sugar, corn syrup, additives, all those E's that are put in the food. So if you want to go all, I mean, it's gets difficult. However, just whatever you can pick up in the market, meaning Okla Mandi or a Sabzi market, get that, because the food is fine. Now, what is the quantity? What is the amount of food, and what are the timings of the food? I find to be more important, because if you start your day with a huge amount of food, that's gonna kind of immediately pull you down. So you do not need a huge amount of food immediately. You do need something. Have a good, let's say, brunch sort of a type. Have some snack, light dinner. And usually it is the other way around for most of people. It's like you're on the go, you hardly eat anything, maybe you have a snack, and then as 3 p.m. sets in, the amount of food and what you're eating, it kind of becomes bigger, so that the dinner, which is usually very late, becomes the biggest amount of food. And what is food? Food is energy. So if you take the pleasure out of eating, and this is
Very
all
difficult.
the foodies are gonna hate me for it.
Yes.
But if you take and just say, what is a food? What is the purpose of food? It is to provide nutrients for the body to run properly. Do you put wrong fuel in your car if you want to run properly? You don't.
Right.
You don't. And yet we pollute our body and our system with whole kinds of things because they taste nice. And we have taste buds, which were there evolutionary to provide us with that we know what is not going to make us die. Okay, so now that taste buds are being played on by the industry, entire food industry. So we have taken that socializing aspect of food with hedonistic pleasures, so that we see that good times, family times, is always connected to food, feast, and excess. It
Well
doesn't
said.
have to be that way.
Okay, I want to quickly also ask you, then go on for questions. The importance of food versus vitamins. A lot of people, I think, overdose themselves with supplements and vitamins. What would you recommend on that? Sure.
See, I think the best person to answer would be Dr. Khosla on that.
Right.
But still, what I would say is that there's a minimal requirement of everything. You can't just seclude yourself that you eat only proteins or only carbs or only vitamin C. But obviously, you need a minimum quantity of vitamin C, zinc, selenium, vitamin B12, vitamin D. All these are the requirements which your body needs at some point of the time or the other. One more important thing which I wanted to mention, and I think I forgot to mention, was like when we say, because we are more talking about the weight gain here, or maybe obesity.
Right.
So that can also impact the future health of a woman, like people who are obese in their reproductive age group, they have a tendency of becoming diabetic in the later age. Then they have a tendency of developing some cancers like endometrial cancers. So these are cancers and diabetes and even hypertension, cholesterol, hypercholesterolemia, lipidemia, then cardiovascular problems. They all would be linked to your increased weight. So you have to really look into your weight, and which can be looked both with the exercise as well as diet.
Okay, so best way to stay healthy is also to stay fit.
To stay fit, absolutely.
Okay, I think we have a audience here of young girl students. Any questions for our panel?
First of all, I would like to thank you, all of you. And my question is this, ki nowadays women are facing a lot of problems like irregular periods, hormonal changes. So what you should say on that कि कैसे उनको डाइट लेनी चाहिए, बिकॉज अभी की जो वुमेन्स हैं वो एक मदर भी हैं, एज वेल एज वो हाउस वाइफ भी हैं, एज वेल एज वो एक वर्किंग लेडी भी हैं. तो सब काम को देखते हुए वो ठीक से अपनी प्रॉपर डाइट नहीं ले पाती हैं, उनको न्यूट्रिशंस नहीं मिल पाते हैं. तो इस पर आप क्या कहना चाहेंगी, उनको किस तरह की डाइट लेनी चाहिए?
That's what I said in the beginning, that women's health is very important because she's taking care of the whole house, and she neglects her own health. So to begin with, as I already said, and even Dr. Khosla would agree with it, that you need a balanced diet. You have to have it's just theoretical that you say that you need 2,500 kilocalories per day, but we are not measuring calories when we are eating. So you have to divide your meals. It's always better to have small, frequent meals, and divide your food and eat. You should have an ample amount of carbohydrates, proteins, you should have fats, but everything has to be in a limited quantity. You just can't eat too much of junk food, fast food, fried foods. All these things should be avoided. And as Dr. Jacob said, I would agree with her, you go to a vegetable market and whatever you get, you buy and eat. So when you eat fresh fruits, leafy vegetables, especially these things give you a lot of antioxidants. Then you eat fruits, you get vitamin C's, avocados. There's so many things, nuts, dry fruits. All these things are rich in antioxidants, vitamin E, vitamin C, selenium. So they all help in your nutritional health. Now, as you said, irregular periods. So obviously periods and irregularity is not always associated with the diet. It could be only hormonal problem also. So once we evaluate you, we can then reach to a conclusion whether you need a dietary modification or it's a hormonal medication which can help you in regularizing your periods.
Okay. Would you like to add to this? What are the foods that would help at various stages of life? Should I eat more of this when I'm young and less of that when I'm old?
So we brought out a very important point, Priya, that a woman, we're talking about woman's health. The future of a child is determined, that means the health of the baby and the adult can be modulated by the woman's health during pregnancy. So it begins as early as that. So first of all, a woman's status before she gets pregnant, the nutritional status, then her pregnancy, maternal obesity, as if she is an obese mother, she is likely to produce a baby who is obese or underweight and has a risk of developing obesity later in life. On the other hand, maternal malnutrition, or if there are multiple nutritional deficiencies, or there is an intrauterine growth retardation, that means a small baby, or any other complication in that life cycle can infect the adult she produces. So it's as important as all of you young girls, before you have a child, ensure your body is prepared for it and ensure you eat according to what your needs are and do not increase your weight beyond 9 to 10 kgs, because every kg counts. And make sure you don't get gestational diabetes. Make sure you don't get high blood pressure during pregnancy. So that is how early things begin. And of course, later, of course, breastfeeding and how you're brought up and the lifestyle factors. And coming back to the question that what should a woman do, because she's multitasking and she has no time to think. But one thing is important is planning. That's what I say. Planning, there is no shortcut to that. You just can't take up your bag and just get ready and go and unmindful of what you're carrying with you, where you're going to be.
What is the first thing they should eat in the morning?
Yeah. So the first thing should be the protective foods. So proteins and protective foods. So this is the 3 P's I always say. That's a take-home message for all of you. The planning what time you're going to have your grain. Cereals are very important. When you're going to have them, which ones are you having? When you're exercising, what are your supplement times? All of that needs to be, you have to pay attention. There is no shortcut to it. You just can't land up in a place and say, I didn't have anything to eat, so I ate badly. Oh, I'm traveling, so I ate badly. I am socializing and I'm having meetings and I ate badly. No, you have to plan. No shortcuts there. So the planning is very important, and protective foods, that's your vegetables and fruits, nuts and seeds. Make sure that one meal is dedicated to that. So morning mein agar time nahi hai, to just have fruits. Or if you have some protein with it, have some sprouts, have an egg. Very easy. At lunch, like Ms. Jacob said, there's a peak hunger time. If you're feeling hungry at lunch, you eat at lunch. And if you're hungry at 7 or 6, then plan your meals around it. Maybe carry 2 tiffins. Carry a lunch. Don't say कि मैं तो पहुँचती 9 बजे हूँ, I have to start cooking after that. All that, no, plan. Take 2 tiffins. Very easy. So you eat in time. And proteins are very important for women. Mostly we're eating, our diets are around carbohydrates, roti, chawal and all the breads, etc. So ensure your two meals at least have good protein. Whether it's a dal, whether it's a chila, whether it's a bisi roti, whether it's whatever, animal protein. So proteins and protective foods are very important. And if you just take care of what we describe as a rainbow diet.
So include everything in it.
All the colors, 7 colors every day is a fabulous way you can plan your diet.
Thank you all, and thank you for the audience and all of you for coming and helping us with this conversation. I think this is a conversation that we would really like to have more of, so I'm going to call all of you back again soon. But that's it for now. Thank you for watching this show.
For more such videos, subscribe to the NewsX YouTube channel, hit the bell icon.